I want to talk a little bit today about how my spiritual practice have shaped my political views. Just a quick summary of my life. I was raised in a Mexican Catholic, more semi-traditional family, and I did the baptism, the confirmation, and the first communion, which you need all three in order to get married in the Catholic Church. Not that that's going to happen. And I walked away from the Catholic Church probably in my late teens, early 20s. It just didn't vibe with me anymore. So I had already been researching different faiths, different spiritual ideas. And once I started noticing how all of them were connected, I started doing a little bit more research and a little bit more soul searching. Now I would be what you would call a pantheist, which has nothing to do with pantheon. That's multiple gods. For me, it's the belief that if we all come from a single source, then we are that source. If the physical manifestation of the consciousness of the universe, that is God, if you want to call it that, then planets and all the lives on each planet, if there is life on other planets, everything, all of that cosmic, space dust and every particle, all of that comes from the same atoms, from the same source. We come from the same elements. We share the same elements as the planet in our bodies, as the rest of the universe. We're all connected. I think in in an allegorical sense, God did create us in his own image. I wouldn't consider myself a conservative by any means, although I do have conservative values, especially dealing more with the family. I do believe that it is important to have a strong knit family unit, but I also understand how complicated that is, and that's an ideal, not always a reality. As a liberal, I do believe more in, being able to express yourself in different ways. Socially, I don't, I mean, I believe in gay marriage, or I believe in marriage between, people of the same sex. It's just marriage. Because for me, marriage is just a government contract or just a pact that you're gonna, share your life with your partner. And you can bring whatever God you want into it, it doesn't negate anybody else's happiness. I also look at, more traditional gender norms and gender roles. And while I think that some of them do have a biological basis as well, as opposed to just a social one, I also do think that there are social norms in dictating gender. Not all of them. I don't think gender is a social construct, but I think there are a lot of gender norms or some gender norms that are social constructs. And we can argue that all we want, but I mean, I've dressed up as a woman many times, and I don't feel like I'm any less of a man because at the end of the day, I know what I am. I know I'm a man. So, what really started prompting my thoughts on free will, first of all, in the Judeo-Christian traditions, there is the belief that God, the Creator, did endow us with free will. So that's a big component. It's up to us whether we want to make our choices or not. So free will is touched upon in a compendium of channeled sessions. They channel. It's called the Law of One, and it is the being that they channel is called Ra, like the sun god, like the Egyptian sun god. And he talks about free will a lot and how you're responsible for not imposing your will upon others, and how you're responsible for making sure that your free will isn't um, infringed upon. So it seems to me very much like a First and Second Amendment type of situation, because I think that you are within your complete right, whether it's legal or not. I think it is a human right that you have to protect yourself and those around you. For the longest time, I used to rag on the libertarians a lot, not really understanding how important individual rights and freedoms are. I would not join the Libertarian Party. I'm not joining the Republican Party. I'm not joining the Green Party. I want to vote based on each individual and what they have to bring, not on their party. I used to think libertarians were kind of callous and they just didn't care enough to get involved. And I think for some of them that might be completely true. It might be that their personality is perfect for this kind of ideology or this party. But for me, I think that it really does leave responsibility up to the individual. And I think that's a key thing, because we are responsible for ourselves. You know, a lot of the times we shift blame upon some external force. Not that most of the bad things that happen in life are caused by us per se, but the way we handle the situations or create other situations, those might be more detrimental, and those are our fault. And we cannot control other people, but we can only control ourselves. So that's the big thing for me, is in that regard, I am a bit of a libertarian, because I do believe that we all need to leave people responsible for their lives. It doesn't always work. You're always going to have people who abuse their will and use it to hurt others. And that's never like that's not something that I condone. I condone defending yourself, but not willfully going out and hurting somebody for whatever reason. That's just not who I am. I don't think I would vote libertarian, because I don't think we're quite there yet as a people. I don't think that we're quite there to just let people be people. I think we always have a sense of wanting to control the environment around us and wanting to control the people around us. But one of the most Buddhist things I've learned is to let go. What I mean by letting go is letting go of situations that you know you can't control. It's like that mantra that they do at AA or NA. It's like, grant me the strength to change the things that I can and accept the things that I can't, and the wisdom to know both, like which ones you can change and which ones you can't. And that's every situation in life. You're going to have situations, events, people, and you can't change them. Nor are you meant to. That's not your job. You can guide them, but that's about it. You can't change them. You can't bend them to your will. You can't Darth Vader, people. That's how he became Darth Vader, because he wanted to have control over things. And that's just not how it works. Because the more you want control, the more it's going to backfire on you. It's another movie reference from Jurassic Park. It's like when Laura Dern tells Richard Attenborough, you never had control. That's the illusion. So my spiritual practices had a lot to do with sort of giving up control of situations, in the sense that if things are being played on a cosmic scale and I'm not really understanding why things are not working for me at this moment, then I have to be okay with it. I can't control it. It's not up to me to go around and blame everything, all of my problems on some external force, especially some politician, especially some, even the president. I know the president has a lot of power. I don't think he has complete power. I don't think he has power over everybody. I don't think he has power over the way we feel. Those people who say, well, Trump's dividing America, okay, even if Trump's rhetoric does cause division, it's still up to each individual to make that choice. And I think a lot of us are just scared because we have to be responsible for ourselves. And I don't think we've ever really been good at being responsible for ourselves. We kill each other, we take from each other, we torture each other, we hate each other. Why? Because we're afraid we don't have control. But we don't. So why are we freaking out? Just accept that you have no control over most things, that you can only control how you react to things and how you control yourself, and don't worry about everybody else, you know? So for conservatives, I understand the argument about, free speech, because that's a huge one for me. The PC culture, you can't force people to be nice. Um, and I understand, especially growing up as a little homosexual boy, that on the right they wanted to enforce their morality on us, and they would tell us, well, you can't get married because the Bible says that blah 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 blah. That's fine. You believe that. You should not enforce that upon somebody else. So it's not really about one side or the other. This is about human nature, and this is what we do. So because I'm seeing it a lot more from the left, the reason why I walked away is because I started feeling like I couldn't be myself. I couldn't express myself. I couldn't defend myself against people accusing me of things because a racist will always deny that they're not racists. So this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. I'm sort of in the middle, maybe shifting a little to the right. I think we need to be a little bit more fiscally conservative because we just went through a whole bunch of stuff that we need to be able to recover from. I'm not an expert on everything. I'm not an expert on politics. I'm not an expert on economics. I try to follow as much of it as possible. What hasn't been convincing me is people on the left are calling the right authoritarians, but I really see the authoritarianism coming from the far left. And unfortunately, because people are tribal, they don't really see it as authoritarianism. But I've seen videos, not to say that videos are always the end all be all for arguments, but needing very little context, I can see certain behavior that if I were in their place, I would not be okay with. There was a video of a lady outside of a cafe, and a whole mob of people are pressuring her to raise her fist in support of Black Lives Matter, even though she does support Black Lives Matter, or at least I think that's what the story was. There's another video I saw with people sitting at a restaurant outside. Same thing, a whole bunch of people like with megaphones or berating them and saying, you should come join us, blah, 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 blah. Let them be. Let them be. Why do you feel you need to use authority, whether it's state sanctioned authority or authority that you create in numbers? Why do you feel the need to tell people what to do. I had the same problem with conservatives and Christians when I was growing up, and it's the same problem I'm having with these people now. I don't get it. I'm not about tribalism. I'm not. I'm about ideals. And I don't really see the left supporting my ideals. They might claim they're woke, but I don't think they really follow the law of one. I don't really think they know how to let their will just be their will. Anyway, thank you for listening.